Episode 5 of Agent Kim is finally here. To rescue his daughter, Agent Kim drops his pretense at last and storms the enemy's hideout alone, fearlessly facing dozens of hostile men blocking his way. Just the day before, Goldtooth had just finished making a threatening call to Chairman Ju outside the cold storage. Unexpectedly, he locked eyes with Minji the second he turned around. He never imagined the girl who was supposed to be dead was still alive. Seeing Minji dash back into the cold storage, he lunged after her at once, but she slammed the heavy door shut and locked it firmly, trapping him outside. Unable to pry open the cold storage door, he hurriedly called his 2 lackeys to bring the keys, unaware that Minister Kim had already beaten them to a pulp. The burly henchman was strangled to the brink of suffocation. He asked if Minister Kim worked for Chairman Ju. Seeing confusion cross Minister Kim's face, he had no choice but to confess that Minji was inside the cold storage. They hadn't killed anyone, they'd only disposed of a corpse on Hyri's orders. At the mention of the word corpse, murderous rage flared fully in Minister Kim's eyes. He uttered a cold warning: if Minji was really dead, everyone present would pay with their lives. After dealing with the big henchman, he chased down the scrawny accomplice who was trying to flee in a car. Instead of ramming the vehicle to a halt right away, he toyed with him like a cat with a mouse, repeatedly giving him a chance to run before crashing into his car violently each time. He kept this up until the vehicle was sent flying completely, then dragged the terrified scrawny man out and ordered him to lead the way to the cold storage. They had only walked a few steps when gang members who'd heard the commotion rushed over and surrounded them. Minister Kim tossed the scrawny man into a shipping container and told the gang to attack all at once and stop wasting his time. Minutes later, he opened the container door again and hauled the scrawny man out. The man glanced around and saw the gang who'd been aggressive moments earlier now sprawled unconscious all over the ground. Petrified with fear, he quickly pointed toward the cold storage across the way, but before he could finish speaking, a car sped toward them at high speed and struck both of them, sending them flying. The driver was the North Korean agent who'd been hunting Minister Kim all along. The two immediately erupted into a brutal fight. Minister Kim knocked the agent down several times, yet the man's sole obsession was avenging his older brother, Agent 66. Just as Minister Kim had him locked in a chokehold, the agent suddenly called out his name. As a young boy, Minister Kim had witnessed Agent 66 parting with his younger brother, so he'd never forgotten the name. He slowly loosened his grip and told the agent he had never killed Agent 66. Back then, the two had been bitter rivals in training, yet brothers who'd risked their lives for each other. During a mission, Agent 66 lost a leg to an explosion and knew he wouldn't survive. Unwilling to escape alone, Minister Kim even raised his gun, ready to die alongside his brother. At the critical moment, Agent 66 used his last bit of strength to stop him. To honor his brother's final wish, Minister Kim surrendered and was captured by South Korean intelligence. It was then he learned the entire mission had been an elaborate trap from the start. Back when Director Lee hadn't yet held the director's position, he deliberately leaked intelligence to South Korean forces, sacrificing every agent on the operation as disposable pawns. His only goal was to eliminate his superior through the failed mission and seize the director's post for himself. Minister Kim repeated Agent 66's final words to the younger brother. The agent finally recalled his brother had said the exact same line the day they parted, and at last believed Minister Kim was not responsible for his brother's death. Meanwhile, Ginol, who'd pretended to surrender, sprang into action. He easily took down the two agents escorting him. Judging the landing spot by wind direction and water currents, he laid in wait on the only path Hansa could take to reach the shore. Soon enough, Hansa surfaced, dragging Director Kong, who couldn't swim and had nearly drowned. Certain Director Kong would never let the matter rest. The two decided to split up. Ginol, who never walked away empty-handed, stole the agent's car and cell phones on his way out. He also maxed out Director Kang's bank card and stocked up an entire vehicle full of supplies as provisions for their upcoming operation. Meanwhile, trapped inside the cold storage, Minji kept replaying every warm memory with her father. She regretted all the hurtful things she had said to him. Refusing to wait passively for her fate, she slipped open the cold storage door while the scrawny lackey returned to report to Goldtooth. Spotting the unlocked door, Goldtooth stepped inside slowly, clutching a dagger. Seizing the opening, Minji bolted out of the cold storage, knocking the scrawny man unconscious with a single stick blow as they collided head-on, then scrambled desperately to find an exit. Just then, she ran into Chairman Ju's right-hand man, Mayor Nam, who had arrived with his men. She had no choice but to dart into a nearby warehouse to hide. Elsewhere, Minister Kim finally reached the cold storage. He searched frantically for Minji, only to find one cold corpse after another, sinking into total despair. When he glanced down, he spotted a familiar line of writing on the ground. At the sight of those words, he instantly knew Minji was still alive. Shouting his daughter's name, he rushed out of the cold storage, clambered onto a shipping container and scanned the surroundings wildly. He caught sight of Minji climbing over the wall toward the highway. He screamed her name at the top of his lungs, but the heavy downpour drowned out every sound. Minji heard nothing and fled far away over the wall. Without hesitation, Minister Kim jumped down from the container and sprinted after his daughter. At the same time, Mayor Nam tracked down Goldtooth. He remembered how he had personally pulled out every one of Goldtooth's teeth years ago, and now the man dared to threaten Chairman Ju. He wasted no time ordering his men to yank out every gold tooth fitted in Goldtooth's mouth one by one, torturing him to reveal Minji's whereabouts. Bleeding profusely, Goldtooth finally broke, admitting Minji was still alive. He sneered and added that Minji's father was a genuine monster. Mayor Nam immediately led his men to hunt Minji down, leaving only one subordinate to clean up the scene. Unexpectedly, Goldtooth launched a last-ditch attack, stabbing the man over and over in a frenzied assault. Back on the highway, Minji waved non-stop to flag down passing cars, yet none stopped for her. On the verge of losing all hope, a vehicle slowly pulled over in front of her. Thinking she was saved at last, she leaned back against the seat and closed her eyes wearily. Meanwhile, unable to locate his daughter, Minister Kim contacted Sang-ae and the laundromat owner right away, begging them to pull surveillance footage from along the roads. He promised he would turn himself in the moment Minji was found. The pair relayed the whole situation to Director Kong, hoping to help the desperate father one last time. But Director Kong wore a cold smirk. Since Minji was Minister Kim's only weakness, they would find her before anyone else and take her hostage to force Minister Kim into surrendering. Surveillance footage soon identified the vehicle Minji had boarded. What no one realized was that the car belonged to Chairman Ju. Staring at the prey that had walked right into his trap, Chairman Ju curled his lips into a slow grin. As long as Minji remained in his custody, he could not only clear Hyri of murder charges, but also draw out the elusive father of Minji at long last. End of this episode.